Hello, I'm Bud McCord. I'm here in Brazil, South America. It's December 27, 2021. I hope you're already focused on Jesus Christ. You're hearing him, you're seeing him, hearing him, loving him, and living him. This seems to me to be the process of discipleship clearly understood. We must get face to face with the person of Jesus and answer the question, who is he? And then we need to listen to his voice, because he said, my sheep will hear my voice, and we will move and go with him as he calls us by name. He also calls on us to love him and to abide in his love, as if we need to be loved by Jesus so that discipleship works. And the fruit of this is literally the fruit of the Spirit: love, joy, peace, long-suffering, gentleness, meekness, all of these things that can so deeply bless other human beings and feed their souls. This is discipleship. We're in chapter 21 of John's Gospel. It's been a wonderful journey of some 90-something encounters, Monday to Friday, just walking through these words of Jesus. And I appreciate so much those of you who start your day with this, wherever you happen to be. When I'm speaking right now, in Portugal, it's 4 hours difference, I think, right now in our time, and between where I am in Brazil and Israel, where we have friends that are watching, it's much later it's in the afternoon already. And for my friends in the United States, some of you have gotten up very, very early. But whenever you're watching this, we know that Jesus is present with you and in you. And so I want to encourage you to keep seeing him, hearing him, loving him, so that you can live him and give away this bread that comes from Jesus Christ, that is Jesus Christ. Again, we're in chapter 21. And before I read this, I just want to put this little thought into your mind, because it came to my mind as I was reading it this last night and this morning. This is worldwide Christianity in its very beginning form. And these disciples are dispersed, and they're not holding meetings and strategic planning, and they're not getting ready to build their first church building, and they're not planning an evangelistic crusade. Watch what they do. They go fishing. I like these guys. They go fishing. I can see exactly what was in their minds when they said, hey, this has been a rough phase. Let's go fishing. Excuse me. Verse 21, chapter 21 says this: after these things, Jesus showed himself again to the disciples at the Sea of Tiberias. And in this way he showed himself: Simon Peter, Thomas called the twin, Nathanael of Cana in Galilee, the sons of Zebedee, that would include John, the author of this gospel, and two others of his disciples were together. Simon Peter said to them, I'm going fishing. We can take a day off here. I'm going fishing. They said to him, we're going with you also. They went out and immediately got into the boat, and that night they caught nothing. But when the morning had now come, Jesus stood on the shore, and yet the disciples did not know that it was Jesus. Then Jesus said to them, children, have you any food? And they answered him, no. And he said to them, cast the net on the right side of the boat, and you will find some. So they cast, and now they were not able to draw it in because of the multitude of the fish. Therefore, that disciple whom Jesus loved, that's John, the author of this book, said to Peter, it is the Lord. Now when Simon Peter heard that it was the Lord, he put on his outer garment, for he had removed it, and plunged into the sea. And the other disciples came in the little boat, for they were not far from land, but about 200 cubits, dragging the net with fish. Then as soon as they had come to the land, they saw fire of coals there, and fish laid on it, and bread. Jesus said to them, bring some of the fish which you have caught. Simon Peter went up and dragged the net to land full of large fish, 153. And although there were so many, the net was not broken. Jesus said to them, come and eat breakfast. Yet none of the disciples dared to ask him, who are you? Knowing that it was the Lord, Jesus then came and took the bread and gave it to them, and likewise the fish. Now this is the third time Jesus showed himself to his disciples after he was raised from the dead. Here's what came to my mind, and it's certainly not a deep theological thought. It's an observation. Jesus is repeating to the disciples by his behavior on the shore as he's calling to the disciples and asking them if you have any food, and they say no. Well, that was a plan that didn't work. They fished all night, they had no food, and it really is an illustration of what Jesus said in John 15, without me you can do nothing. Jesus is not interested in whether they went fishing or not. He's interested in getting them back close to him. Because he is the way, he is the truth, he is the life, and no one comes to the Father except by him. But Christianity can't spread without him. Probably one of the biggest mistakes that we make in our minds as we think about expanding Christianity, which I don't know that we should be wanting to expand Christianity. I'll explain that in a minute. But when we think about the growth through the world of the influence of Jesus, there are about 2.38 billion people who call themselves Christians in the world. That's 2 billion, 38 million, or more than that, I think, 38. I get confused when it comes to billions. I've never had to deal with that much in anything. It's a huge portion of the human population that now say they're Christians. Now, think with me like this for a minute. This is the group, or a part of the group, there's 7 people mentioned here, that are going to explode on the scene in less than a month on the day of Pentecost. And they, together with the people that are in that room, and when the Holy Spirit comes down on the church, and they're going to baptize 5,000 people. It's like the net, isn't it? It's almost like, can't you hear just, do you have any people? Not do you have any fish? Do you have any food? Do you have any people? And they would have said, no, just us. But just us with him changes everything. But just us by ourselves changes nothing. The biggest mistake that we make is thinking that Jesus left us on our own. He can't leave us on our own. He won't leave us on our own. Because without him, we can do nothing. So discipleship is 100% dependent on what Jesus said, and I will be with you always, even to the end of the age. Go out and make disciples. I'm with you. I'm in you. I will empower you by giving the Spirit, and you will make disciples. You will make disciples. Remember when Jesus began his ministry with this group, he said he would make them fishers of men. I've thought about that a lot over the years. Fishers of men. I love to fish. I grew up fishing because I'm from Miami, Florida, and I love the ocean. I love the Everglades. I love fishing. Always have, always will. And, you can either fish for sport because it's just fun to catch fish, or you can fish to eat. The great majority of people that are fishing today in the world are fishing to put food on the table. Their table and the table of other people who need food, good food, clean food, healthy food. Now, when you catch a fish, you take it out of its natural environment and you put it in on the table. And it is good for all the people that share in it and what it is and what it has become. It's become food. So when he says, do you have any food? He's saying, can you transform what's in the water into food on my table? And they said, no. So when we fish for men, what are we doing? We are taking Jesus to them so that they can be transformed into people who can feed other people. What is the food we feed other people in Christianity? We give them Jesus. we give them Jesus. Never forget that discipleship is giving people Jesus. There's a song that was, I think it was Ruth Graham's, Billy Graham's wife's favorite song. It says, give me Jesus. And when I arise, give me a Jesus. And when I come to die, give me Jesus. It's a beautiful, beautiful song. Discipleship only works by taking people to Jesus. We don't take them to us, our Bible study, our church, our building. We take them to Jesus and we leave them there. And they walk away and we take them back. Now this is Jesus. His disciples have been dispersed and they're wandering around, and this is Christianity. And there are people saying this is the beginning of Christianity, this group. The beginning of Christianity happened before the history of the world. Christianity is Jesus. It's a person. Christianity is not a system. It's not a set of doctrines. It's the man sitting on the beach cooking food for them. That's Christianity, because they didn't have any food. And there was no place on the corner to run and get it. He had bread and food for them. That's what he is. That's what he does. And that's what we're to be doing. Take people to Jesus and leave them there. Take them to Jesus and leave them there. You know, another thing caught my attention was they were very quiet. Nobody said, "You're Jesus, aren't you?" No, they knew. But they were dumbfounded. They were just, what in the world is he doing here? What is he doing here? And he explains to them, and he tells them, he's just pulling them back to himself. Here's the thing that's going to happen in your life as a disciple. Jesus is not going to stop pulling you back to himself and taking you back to himself, because without him, there is no Christianity. But with him, the net can get full really fast if he wants it to. So I hope that I like to fish still. I'll go fishing when I get frustrated sometimes. I'll go just to get out of the routine. But there's nothing like seeing people come to Jesus. That inspires me way more. I hope it inspires you as well. Hey, have a great day. Tomorrow we'll talk a little bit more about what's going on here as we go toward the end of the Gospel of John. God bless you.